Hi lovelies, happy new month. Karibu sana to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here and this is the kind of content that you like, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'll be talking about what made me decide on the university or alma mater I went to study for my law school. So let's get into it. To start with, I need to explain a bit of the Kenyan system and how it works, particularly for public school, because I have been in public/faith-based institutions for the larger part of my life. And what happens is, while in high school during your final year, your Form 4, you get an opportunity on your visiting day, as it was during my time, to fill out a form that would go maybe to the placement board that puts people in university to help you figure out what career would work depending on how your grades look like or what projection your teachers think you would get in your high school exam, which is the KCSE. People would tell you, fill out this career, you're more likely to do well maybe in education. You could do nursing, you could be a doctor, you could be an engineer, you could be a lawyer, and the like. So the first thing about that process is, as you're filling it out, you have never been to any of these universities that you're filling out, and it's basically pure luck, because even though you fill that particular university, it was not a guarantee that you would go to that university. You might end up being placed in a totally different university. So I did that in my final year in Form 4, and I can't even remember which careers I put down then. I don't even know if at that particular point I was 100% sure that I wanted to go to law school. And this is because in high school, that is when I was having my identity crisis, if so to say. That is when I was trying to figure out, who am I, what do I like, what do I love. So the only thing that was consistent for me in high school was journalism club, and that was something that I loved and I enjoyed. So that was definitely one of the careers, but also I didn't know if that was what I was going to go for in university or it was more of a hobby. So once you filled out that form, what happened next was you sat your exams, and when you sat your exams around end of the year, the result would come out the next year. So when the year began, all you used to do at that time is maybe go and do your computer courses, which was ICDL back in the days. I did a bit of French at that time, just to keep myself busy, because if you know me, I really don't know how to sit still and do nothing. Like just staying in the house and watching movies has never been my thing. So I like getting, dipping my toes everywhere and trying to figure out what works for me. So when the results came out, the points that I was supposed to get to be directly placed by the Joint Admissions Board back at the day, or now as it is known as COOPS, were not what was going to land me to the course that I wanted. So my parents sat me down, and you have like a plan B. Now the plan B is more expensive. The beauty of being put in school by the Joint Admissions Board or COOPS right now is it really saves your parents some coins. You could pay up to 30,000 bob a year for education, which is crazy. So these opportunities really help you out if you do not have the money that you need to go to college or to university, and you can still get that education. But the competition is so high, the cutoff points are really high. Now the thing is, you might not end up getting the career that you filled out for, because as you can imagine, there's so many people who are being churned out of high school and being put into the university. So it's not guaranteed that because you apply to maybe the University of Nairobi that you'll end up at the University of Nairobi. I sat down with my parents, they asked me, so what do you want to do? And at that point, I had had time to sit down and think about it, and for me it was either journalism or law school. So for journalism in this country, I had been doing my own research, and there was this idea of it's a flooded market, or it's for specific people who look a certain type of way, which is still the case for a lot of people who are in the media. But also for journalism, I very quickly realized that all you get to do is to read the news and report what is happening. And for me, I wanted to do something more impactful. And right now, when I think about it, I was really way ahead of myself, because I wanted to do things that had to do with policy that would make a difference, however small or big. So I settled on law school, and I told my parents that I would like to go to law school. So at that time, because you don't know where the Joint Admissions Board or COOPS is going to put you in school, you start hunting for a university. Now, for me, this was a very essential process because now, unlike when I was in high school, I had never been to any of these universities. I now had the chance to go and check them out on my own. Yes, at that particular point, my parents were like, you know what, you're a grown up and I'm the firstborn in my family. So it was like, go and see what you like. Because at that particular point, they also have their alma maters. They would have wanted me to go there, but they gave me the freedom to choose what I wanted. So at that time, I remember I went to so many universities just to see what they had in store. I had checked out Strathmore, but you know, Strathmore is expensive. And considering I'm not an only child, I also have to be considerate because, you know, all the school fees can't just go to one person. So Strathmore is an amazing school. If you have the opportunity, you should definitely check it out. I went to the University of Nairobi, whose law school is renowned. But let me tell you guys, when I went to UON to give out my documents because I was qualified for the Module 2 program, or what is called the parallel, then you know, you just go there, you pay the registration fee, you apply, they give you, like, maybe they give you a fee structure and they tell you, we'll send you a letter by this time. So as I was leaving the office after paying and leaving my documents, all of a sudden there was commotion. That was back when Babu Owino was in school, and that was like a kind of protest, and kidogo there were cops, and yani kidogo all the offices were closed. And in my head I'm like, is this where I'm going to come and study? I know I was at main campus and law school is in Parklands, but at that particular point on my list I was just like, nope, I'm not coming to University of Nairobi. I don't think I'm a good fit for this. And the wild thing for me is I have never been in a really big school. All through primary, all through high school, my school was that one when you enter the gate and you can see the whole school. So that there are no massive fields or, you know, all that. So for me, I'm very used to like a nice compact school with a certain number of students and the like. So I said no to University of Nairobi. I remember I even went to Kabarak. I loved Kabarak. Oh my God. I was like, I got home and I told my parents, you know what, I'm going here. And considering it's all the way like in Nakuru, it was my opportunity for me to be like, I'm leaving house and I'm moving out and I'm going to a whole other city, which I didn't mind. And at that point, I felt that I had made up my mind. I felt that I was going to go to Kabarak Law School. I had even told my friends who were going to go to Kabarak, and I was like, we're going to go and meet up at Kabarak and we're going to do this law thing. So after that, of course, there was a bit of hesitation from my parents for me moving all the way to Nakuru to do my law school. But, you know, they were very supportive and they said, you know, wherever you want to go, we're going to put our best foot forward, we're going to pay the fees. Now, the thing you have to know is if you decide that you're not going to be placed by JAB or by COOPS, then education now becomes extremely expensive because all of these schools I'm talking about, you need about 1 million Kenya shillings to finish your whole 4-year course. And you have to realize that that's not cheap. So a lot of this module 2 options, you need about, when I was doing the math, it was about 750k to 1 million bob to be able to study in this particular institutions. So for my parents to tell me we're going to pay for you, it was a major plus. So after I went to Kabarak, I remember I checked a few other places. I checked Nazarene. I remember I checked out Kenyatta University. I really went to a lot of law schools. I even feel like I had asked around about MKU and all that. And where I went to study was probably nowhere in my top 5. I think I probably checked 10 law schools and it wasn't in my top 5. So I studied at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. And because of the rumors around, you know, JKUAT is known for engineering courses, you know, and all these technical courses. So by the time you're deciding to go to law school, there's already so much competition in the market depending on where your alma mater is. But sometimes I think that's just a myth. But there's already so much. You're told go to University of Nairobi, go to KU because they're well established. So when I went to Jomo Kenyatta to apply, I remember it's in Karen. So you get there and you're like, oh my God, there's so many trees. I really love trees. Oh, I think that was a selling point for the school. I love trees. So I went and I would see all these trees and I'd see like this beautiful road, and it's current. So people are driving Range Rovers, and I feel like this is all vain stuff, but for me it was so fascinating. So I went to the admissions office and I asked about the law school program, and they told me, and then they gave me the fee structure, and I applied and I paid. And then I went now to the stage. If you've been to JKUAT Karen, like the distance from the school to the stage is quite a bit. So I'm walking, and at that particular point is when people who are currently in school are finishing their classes, and they're walking to the stage. So the buses that serve the JKUAT route are the KBSs and the City Hoppers. And if you've read my blog about me, I love KBSs. Like, I don't know what it is. Apparently, when I'm younger, I never loved the buses because I don't know. My mom tells me this story about how much I used to hate them, but now I love them. I just like going and sitting in a window seat and just feeling the air on my face and feeling the sun. I mean, am I weird? I mean, like, such things. For me, I like being present, and these loud matatus don't do that for me. So KBS is like, most of the time, I never get the ones that have music, and if they do, it's never that loud. So I really enjoy my bus rides. So when I was in the bus, there are like these two people who were seated behind me, who until today I don't know who they were, and they were talking about like the course they were doing. They were doing something in the sciences, I think sciences or architecture, and they were in Karen campus, and they were talking about their experience with the teachers, and they're talking about how they'd learned and the fact that they enjoyed it, and what scores they had gotten in their cards. And for me, I was just like, oh my God, this is something that I would love to be part of. Because all the other places, I had never really like interacted with students. Even at the University of Nairobi, I just went to the office. And even at these other universities, I just like went, paid, got the forms, and were told like, we'll send you a letter on when you've been accepted. So for me, it's like I was hearing firsthand about how the experience was. So when I came home, I think my parents had made up their mind. They were like, yeah, you're gonna go to Kabarak. And I was like, no, I think I'm going to try out Jomo Kenyatta. Funny enough, that's the first letter that I got back. That was my first call back when I had paid for the registration fee and everything. All the other universities, I got the letters eventually in time, or I got a phone call saying, oh, we're having registration at this particular time. So that's what happened. In May, I reported to Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology Law School. And it's probably the best decision that I made in my adult life. And the reason why I say this is, in high school, you're only coming to yourself. And as I've said, for me, I was trying to figure out, so who am I? What am I doing? What do I love? When I came to JKUAT, it was a compact community. It's not an enormous school like JKUAT, the main campus, or like University of Nairobi, So because it was a very compact school, I had a very hands-on approach. You could get to see the dean if you wanted to. You could get to see the administrator if you wanted to. And because it's a fairly new law school, then they're very hands-on because they're building a generation of good lawyers who will market the school. So I remember like the day that I reported to law school, I met this wonderful lady called June who introduced me to moot court, and with time, moot court became the first opportunity I got to travel abroad, paid for by the school. And I feel like I'll talk about moot court in a whole other video, because mooting was a very big experience of mine. I got to like come out of my shell and stand out for myself. I ran for class president, and I was class president for like 4 years. So JKUAT was very good for me, and I'm very happy I got to choose it. So the reason why I felt that I should share this particular story is, if you are picking a school, especially now, because I know everything has changed because of the pandemic, pick a school that you feel will work for you, because that is what will be your identity all the way through. If you pick a school because that's where your mom or your dad went to study, or you pick a school because your high school felt that you'd do well there, or even a course. I feel like I'll talk about law school in a completely different video, because law school is a wild journey. A very wild journey. Make sure you experience it. Go visit the university, see the resources, think about, do you see yourself going to study there? Do you think you'll enjoy the culture and all that? Even now that we're doing it online, make sure you call, ask all the relevant questions. If you're leaving high school, get your feet on the ground. Don't leave it to your parents. Don't be like, oh, my parents are going to tell me where to go. Even if you want to go study abroad, if your parents can afford it, tell them you'd like to go see the school, which is an amazing culture that I see in the United States, where in high school, you know, they go and they visit all their unis and they figure out what they want or what they don't want. And that is it for this video. I hope you like this story time. Don't forget to be kind, and hopefully this month will be warm and we can get our sundresses and our off shoulders and we won't have to feel cold anymore. Yeah, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, like, just go check right now. Maybe you've never subscribed. I have reminded you. Please subscribe and support this channel as it's growing. Bye.